What is going on, YouTube people? Neo Cards and Comics here. Just gonna sit down, do a quick little NFL 2021 Prism singles update. It's been on the market for a full month now. I think the last time I did this, it had been on the market for 2 weeks. And what we're gonna do here is just kind of look at 21 NFL Prism, run through, see what players are selling the most, take a little look at number of transactions. I pulled some sealed wax stuff. This, that, and the other thing. So like, comment, subscribe, and let's go ahead and dive into market movers. Link in the description down below. So first up, silvers. Silver Prisms, 21 NFL. Leading the way, well, the obvious thing here, and let me zoom in. The obvious thing here is everything's in the red, 100% normal. We always see this. These products release, whatever product it is, it does not matter. The stuff sells for its highest point the first couple days on the market and then immediately comes down. Like I said, we're looking at almost exactly 4 weeks worth of data, maybe just slightly under that, but very close to a full month worth of sales transactions. So no surprise to see all this stuff in the red. I did pull up and look at some random individual cards. I just scrolled down, picked one, scrolled down, picked one. It does seem like over the last 7 to 14 days, single prices have kind of, at least on silvers, have kind of leveled off a little bit. There's definitely still some up downs all around, but generally speaking, over the last 7 to 10 days, it seems things have kind of found their current price. Maybe it's hard to tell in this market, you never really know, but generally speaking, it kind of looks that way. So most expensive player for silvers, raws, obviously Mac Jones at $200. I don't believe in Mac Jones. I'm not a big Mac Jones guy. I understand the whole Patriots nonsense and he won a bunch of games last year, but is he an actual really, really good quarterback? Is he like a good game manager? I don't know. I just don't see it with him. Not a buyer on Mac Jones. The thing that surprised me the most, Jamar Chase, the second most expensive Prism silver at $140. Now, he had actually dipped down a little lower than this. I went in and looked at these numbers specifically. He had recently spiked back up the last 2 sales to kind of pull him up above Lawrence and Lance. The other surprising thing, Trey Lance outselling Trevor Lawrence, 135 to 130. A little bit of a head scratcher on the silver, followed by Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Davis Mills, and then a drop off to Micah, Najee Harris, Waddle, and scrolling down here, Kyle Trask, Javonte Williams, Devontae Smith, and then you're down into the bargain basement guys there. So a clear Mac Jones clearly above everybody else, and then a big grouping of kind of everyone in the $100 to $130 range. You have this next group of Chase, Lance, and Lawrence, and then behind that you have the next grouping, little mini grouping of Fields and Wilson, and then Davis Mills kind of by himself. And then it really drops into the sub $30 guys. You kind of got another little group here of Parsons, Harris, Waddle. Kyle Trask is a little bit below that. And then you're pretty much down to the super cheap guys. So that's the silvers. The other interesting thing, and I don't know if there's anything to this. I've only just ripped a little bit of retail, obviously, so I don't have a great feel for what's coming out of boxes. I've watched some breaks, but I haven't watched them all. I find it interesting when you look at the number of sales. Mac Jones is up there at 70. Trey Lance is at 87. Trevor Lawrence is at 97. Justin Fields is at almost 80. Zach Wilson at 85. Davis Mills 57. Jamar Chase's is only at 22. What is up with that? Does anyone have a good theory for this? Because it's not like Jamar Chase is going to be subbed for grading more frequently than Jones, Lance, Lawrence, and Fields. In my opinion, they would all, if you pulled a nicely clean, centered, whatever, silver, of Jamar, you're just as likely to send that as you are any of these other guys. So why is it that there are so many less sales of the Jamar Chase silver? Does anyone have any idea? Has anyone opened like cases of these things and like seen some sort of correlation? Are these harder to hit? Is a Jamar Chase silver even more rare than everybody else's? That really doesn't make sense, but I don't know. Crazier things have happened. So I just found that interesting. Maybe it's just a weird little outlier. I don't know. And maybe that's partially why his numbers are higher than everybody else's, because there's just been less supply on the market. I don't know. I don't know, but it is a little bit strange that his numbers are so far off compared to everybody else's. Next up, let's take a quick little peek at base. Base has really come down. Mac Jones and Lawrence were the two high guys when this stuff hit the market, 125 and 95. They're now down to 20 bucks, under 20 bucks actually. Not surprising. Once again, do not run out and buy these things when they first release, especially base cards. Scrolling down here now, one thing that's different: Jamar Chase, not up here with these guys. So we have Mac at 19, and these guys are also grouped much, much closer together. Mac at 19, Lawrence at 17, Lance at 15, Justin Fields at 10, a little bit of a drop off there. Zach Wilson at 8, and then Jamar Chase way down here at $6, and then we're into, sub $5 guys. I just found that interesting that, on silvers, Chase is way up there. On base, he's pretty far down there. Number of sales, 773 for Jones, over almost 670 for Lawrence, 600 for Lance, 550 for Fields, 480 for Wilson, 440 for Jamar Chase. So those guys just not necessarily transacting quite as often. Jones the highest at 773. Obviously, when you compare that to a silver only being 70 sales, you can really see the print run differences there. And once again, anything clean, I'm assuming a certain percentage of this stuff is getting sent off for grading. I did do a quick check on PSA and SGC's gem rate percentage. PSA is still sitting at about 24%. SGC is sitting at about 27-28% on 21 Prizm. CSG is sitting at about 18%. BGS, it's just not possible to get a good clean representation of what their number is for this in its present state. So I was not able to run a BGS one. But PSA and SGC, who has graded more than anybody else on these, are basically sitting between 24 and 28%. Now, the other thing that I did, because I was curious, since Mac Jones is the most transacted player, I also went in and did a custom query just based off Mac Jones, and I went and collect all the non-numbered parallels to see how many of those have sold. Now, once again, what we don't know is how many of these are already off to grading companies to be graded. I'm sure a decent portion, especially this nicer stuff, but it still kind of gives you, as we get more and more sales data, kind of gives you an idea for how rare some of this stuff is. So I did base, red and black checker, blue and white checker, disco, green, green ice, laser, light blue, and silver. Some of these do not appear on this list, which means none have sold yet. Let's go ahead and run through these really quick. We have Mac Jones base, as previously mentioned, at 773. We have the silver at 67, and these are sorted in order of most to least number of sales. Disco at 63, laser at 32, and I don't remember all the retail parallels that these come out of. Green, 17, and then we have a few PSA sales sneaking on the list. 3 bases have sold so far, and a PSA 10 silver has sold so far. Bases doing 350, silver's doing 1100 as of right now. Once again, let's not put too much into that. These things will be coming back in mass, especially base. Silver, maybe not so much. We'll see. Football silvers tend to be pretty tough hits. So we'll see how that ends up all shaken out. So some of things not making the list on here. Once again, probably because they're super short printed. They may have just not sold yet. They could be running at auction right now. Could be sitting at someone's vault waiting to be graded. Who knows? But kind of gives you an idea that, as always, the greens do tend to be pretty rare, but people tend to not like the greens very much. The lasers seem to be next on that list, with discos and silvers having pretty similar at this point. Once again, this could shift. And then a couple of those not making the list. Green ice, black and red checker, black and white checker, light blue, so on and so forth, not yet on the list. The last thing that I wanted to check in on is sealed wax pricing. They don't have retail wax in market movers yet. They just have hobby boxes. I assume retail wax will be coming soon because they have it for all the other sets. This is both regular hobby boxes and first off the line hobby boxes. And as you can see, regular hobby boxes have basically trickled down ever so slightly, but basically stayed firm. First off the line, basically stayed flat as well, very, very slightly trending up if we scroll down here. Regular hobby boxes down 7%, first off the line up 4%. So not really huge swings one way or the other, basically staying completely flat. I kind of expect this to continue through most of the off season. And then once the season starts, if one of these guys, especially a quarterback, really takes off, I think we could see that wax boxes go up. If for some reason all of these guys bust, it'll go the route of 2019 like Kyler Murray's did and start to tick back down again. Now, the one advantage that this class has is there is a boatload of quarterbacks in it. You're not just relying on one guy like 2019 was pretty much just Kyler Murray for the most part carrying that entire box. You have a lot more guys to speculate on in this one. So I do think this one is generally speaking a safer product, but we will see what happens. That being said, I am not running out to buy Prizm hobby boxes anytime soon. Just kind of not my shtick. So that's where we're at with NFL Prizm right now. Mac Jones continues to lead the way. We have seen the market correction. I'll be interested to look at this in a month right before the season starts, maybe right before the National. I'll do this again and go back 30 days and then see how much prices have swung. Because as of right now, you go back the full 30 days, it looks pretty bleak. If I change this to 14 days, we start to see some green, reds, but what you do notice is the price changes aren't as swingy. You're not seeing $300 and $500 swings. It's $2.44, $16, $55. And this is over the last 2 weeks. Still some corrections going on with stuff going down, but not the massive numbers like you saw if you go back the full 30 to the beginning when they first hit the shelves. Like I said, curious to see what it looks like 30 days from now. And then at that point, we'll basically almost be in season. The preseason will be starting right after the Nationals. So maybe do this checkup one more time, maybe 2 more times, maybe once a month until the season actually starts, just to kind of get a feel for how things are going. Because then we all know what's going to happen. The season's going to start. Most of these cards are probably going to go down. And then anyone that overperforms expectations will get a bump to correct to a new price. So that's all I have for you guys and girls today. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a happy 4th of July. Catch you guys and girls on the next one. Peace.